It started with a cat. A small black cat that showed up at my apartment doorstep one evening, sitting there in the dim hallway, its yellow eyes glowing as if reflecting some unseen light. It didn't move when I approached. It didn't blink. Just watched. I live alone. I don't have pets. I don't even like cats that much. But something about it made me hesitate before closing the door. Then just before the door shut, I heard it. "Let me in." I froze. My hand was still gripping the doorknob. I must have misheard, I told myself. Cats don't talk. I slowly opened the door again. The hallway was empty. The cat was gone. That night I felt strange. The kind of strange that made my skin crawl, like being watched through a keyhole. I kept checking the window, expecting to see those yellow eyes staring in from the darkness. But nothing was there. I went to bed, pulling the covers up over my head like a child, trying to ignore the uneasy feeling curling in my stomach. Somewhere in the silence, I swore I heard soft purring. The next morning I found it again. It was sitting outside my window this time, perched on the fire escape, its eyes locked onto me. Its tail flicked lazily, but otherwise it didn't move. Just like before, it didn't blink. Just watched. I tried ignoring it, went about my day, worked from home. But every time I glanced at the window, it was still there. Unmoving. Watching. At one point, I cracked the window open and shooed it away. It didn't react. I threw a small piece of bread at it. It didn't flinch. I even tried waving my arms, making loud noises. Nothing. It wasn't until the sun started setting that it finally moved. But it didn't jump down. It stood up. Not in the way a normal cat would stretch or rise. No, it stood up on two legs. Its body stretched unnaturally tall, its spine bending, its limbs too long. I slammed the window shut and backed away. I didn't dare look again. That night, the purring was louder. It came from inside my apartment. I checked every room, but I was alone. The doors were locked. The windows were latched. And yet, as I stood there in my dark hallway, I could feel something just beyond my vision. Watching. Waiting. I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those yellow orbs staring into my skull. The next morning, I woke up to a sound. Scratching. Not at my door. Under my bed. I didn't move at first. My body was frozen, stiff with terror. Slowly, I peeked over the edge of my bed. The scratching stopped. Then, purring. Right beneath me. I bolted out of bed and ran to the door, throwing it open, stepping into the hallway. And then I heard it. A whisper. Right against my ear. "Let me in." I refused to stay in my apartment after that. I packed a small bag and left, checking into a cheap hotel across town. I didn't tell anyone. It felt wrong to talk about it. Like if I acknowledged it, it would know where I was. But it didn't matter. Because it already did. That night, in the hotel, I tried to convince myself it was all in my head. Stress, paranoia, lack of sleep. I turned on the TV to drown out the silence. Ordered some food. Took a shower. When I stepped out of the bathroom, the window was open. I hadn't touched it. And on the bed, curled up in the center, was the black cat. Waiting. Watching. Purring. I didn't move. Neither did it. Then, without breaking eye contact, it did something that made my stomach drop. It smiled. Lips pulling back. Teeth that were too sharp, too white. A grin too human to belong on a cat's face. I ran. I don't know how long I drove. I just needed to be away. But no matter how far I went, I could still feel it. Watching. I stopped at a gas station hours later, exhausted, delirious. I splashed water on my face in the bathroom, trying to steady my breathing. And then I saw it. In the mirror. Standing behind me. Not a cat. Not anymore. A tall, thin figure, its eyes glowing yellow, its mouth stretched into that same unnatural grin. "You let me in." I don't remember screaming. I don't remember running. I only remember waking up in my car, parked on the side of the road, my throat raw, my mind blank. The only thing I remember was the purring. Right behind me. Waiting.